Hello, it's me again, and in this video I'm gonna keep working on sound design and implementation of LYRA game in Unreal Engine 5 and Wwise, using Krotos, native instruments, universal audio and other audio tools. So in the previous video I finished with player sounds such as footsteps, jump, dash, etc. And here I'm gonna show you how I created and implemented sounds for weapons. So there are three types of guns in this game: a handgun, rifle and shotgun, and a grenade. Each of them has a fire sound, reload sound, equip sound, etc. And just like everyone else in this game audio world, I'm gonna create those sounds by combining three main layers. The first layer is a mechanical sound that describes the type of weapon itself. The second layer is a low-end hit that imitates this chest punch feeling. And the third layer is a tail that creates character and texture of the weapon. Mixing those three layers plus combining them with some extra layers or reverb on the map is basically how you get an interesting and immersive weapon sound. So I start with pistol sounds, and for that I use Weaponizer in multi-channel routing because I wanted to have each layer separately so I could process them and put them into Wwise separately as well. This is my first layer. This is my low punch layer. The tail, like early reflections. And since this game has some sci-fi vibes, I decided to add a sci-fi layer to the weapon too. This is how it works for the handgun. I process them a bit and together they sound like this. Next, sound for empty pistol. Again, Weaponizer, some processing, and this is how it sounds. Next is the sound when the player picks up or equips the gun. And here I use Reformer Pro in MIDI mode and combine it with some mechanical sound from Weaponizer. This is how it sounds. Next is the reload sound, and thankfully Weaponizer has all the Foley samples you need. This is how it sounds. And we're done with the pistol. This is the shotgun fire sound, and here I use the multi-channel Weaponizer approach again. So the first layer, second layer, third layer, and as you can see I'm using a lot of saturation here, and the last layer. And together they sound like that. Here is my pump sound. And also the sound for an empty shot. These are the rifle sounds, same multi-layer stuff with Weaponizer. This is the first layer, second layer, third layer, tail. And this is how all of them sound together. These are settings for the reload sound. And also I made a separate layer for shells because I wanted them in a separate random container in Wwise, so I could mix them with the fire sound independently. In Wwise, I created a new work unit with a separate actor mixer for each weapon type, organized sounds into different containers, then I connected those events to anim notifies on the animations. And here we go. Well, now, since I have my player sounds and weapon sounds, I think I might start balancing and mixing things, so I went back to Wwise and set levels and did a draft frequency balance using Soundcaster. Next, the grenade, and I started with the throw sound, this is it. Next, the explosion sound, and as you can see here I used almost all Weaponizer slots, filling them with different punches, tails and textures. I also use a lot of saturation and distortion to design this aggressive overdrive sound. And here for the debris layer I used the same trick with a reformer that I showed in the previous video. I took this grenade layer, fed it into reformer, set these libraries and got this debris sound. This is how they sound together. There is also the melee attack animation, and to create a sound for it, I used the same base, just changing the weapon foley sounds. And the last thing, there are zoom in and zoom out sounds for aiming, and I wanted to make sounds for those too. And I wanted them to feel like robot interface sounds, so I crafted them using modulation and LFO in Massive. This is how they sound, and I added them in Wwise, hooked them up, and here we go. So I know that if I play with NPCs or other players, I will hear all these footsteps, shots, explosions from every player on the map as if they were right in front of me. To fix that in Wwise, I enabled 3D positioning for those sounds and created different attenuations with different volume and low pass curves. So the sound changes its position and tone depending on the source distance. For now, as a starting point, I'm using close, mid and far ranges. Because, for example, footsteps are quiet sounds and I don't need to hear them when the player is far away from me. But a grenade explosion is a loud one, and it needs to be heard at some volume level, even from the other side of the map. So for different sound sources, I use different attenuations in Wwise. Well, it's done, let's package the game and check it. Okay, now let's play with NPCs in a real fight and listen to all these sounds in the mix. Well, it's starting to look like a real game, but of course it still needs better balance. And to mix it properly, I need ambience and music. So that is what I'm gonna do next. See you soon.